Welcome to another episode of Real Estate OpenW Table, and this is our 4th episode. And today I've brought you another guest, and this guest is very special in a way that this is the first woman, a professional, who is supposed to tell us more about the issues that we are facing in the industry of land. Malamulo siana amalo amene akupangidwa parliament komanso pali zinthu zambiri zokhuzana ndi malo zimene tikuyenda timve, komanso not only that zokhuzana ndi architecture, chifukwa amene ndabweretsa lero ndi architect ndithu. Tiyadziwa bwinobwino chifukwa zipanga introduce okha. Khali pompo pamene tikuyamba program yathu. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So can you briefly tell us who are you, and can you tell us a brief background of yourself?
All right. My name is Grace Khumalo. I've just graduated with PhD in Town and Regional Planning at the University of Witwatersrand in South Africa. I studied architecture at the Polytechnic and a master's degree at the University of Witwatersrand. I've been working in the construction industry for the past 30 years.
Wow.
14 years in the government.
Yes.
As a professional.
Yes.
Officer, and then 16 years as a lecturer at the University of Malawi, now Mobas. So briefly, that's who I am.
Dr. Khumalo.
Yes.
Ah, that's impressive.
Yes.
Now, in the field of architecture, why is architecture relevant in Malawi? Do you think it's playing a pivotal role here in Malawi?
Architecture is very relevant in Malawi, just as in the world, as it is in the world.
Yes.
In architecture, we say architecture is man's effort to build beautifully.
Yeah.
I think everyone loves beautiful buildings.
Exactly.
Or good-looking buildings.
Yeah.
So architecture is relevant, but architecture is not just about buildings. Architecture touches quite a number of issues, including urban planning, including land management. Of course, in our case, because we deal with the smaller sites, we say site planning.
Yes. And
sometimes we can also do the urban planning at a larger scale.
Yes.
Architecture also deals with the materials of construction and the management of construction works. In other words, we can design, but we also have to see that whatever we have designed is being implemented the way we have designed it on the paper. So architecture touches quite a lot of issues, and these days we are also even diversifying, looking at environmental design, so that whatever we design is responding to the local environment. It's also responding to the needs of the users in terms of the environmental aspect. And we also look at the economic aspect, that whatever we design is going to be not like kumulanda mutu jandrama zake zonse, or mutu joguti maybe doesn't have enough money. He should be able to construct what we call incremental construction. Like someone can still build a desired home, but incremental. So we look into all those things, not just the brick and mortar aspect, but even the financial aspect, the cultural aspect. So the buildings that we build should also culturally responsive. So it touches quite a number of issues.
Now, you have explained a lot. Now, my next question is, here in Malawi, we have encountered some scenarios whereby people complained after looking at the way some buildings are. Okay, like in terms of the design itself, maybe it's not appealing, it doesn't look nice, you know. But then, obviously, an architect designed that kind of building. What's your take on this issue? Because a lot of people, I don't want to be specific in terms of the buildings, but I'm sure you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true. There has been that kind of outcry that the buildings that are in Malawi, they are not that appealing.
Others are substandard.
Others are substandard, you know, ABCD.
Yeah.
And then we can point at buildings that are done beautifully. You know, we are looking at, you know, the old St. Michael's and All Angels.
Yes.
That's an outstanding building in terms of architecture and I think even durability.
Yeah.
And then we are looking at Chayamba buildings, and then we are looking at the Reserve Bank, the National Bank. You know, there are those isolated buildings that we can point at and say, yeah, that's the kind of architecture that we want.
Yes.
But one thing that I should assure you, the people out there, is that once somebody has been trained as an architect, is capable of designing anything. Anything, you know. But you know, to implement a design, it takes a lot of money. You know, so most of the times it's about the client, you know, the one who is going to fund the construction. So if that one is not able, you know, to fund, and you find that, you know, we end up, you know, producing what we call engineering buildings. Engineering buildings, they are devoid of beauty, but as long as they are structurally sound, that's fine. So it's not like the architects are not doing the job. The architects are doing the job, but then the architects don't implement. You know, because the moment we come up with, you know, those funny features, or, you know, some features, we call them architectural features, which may not carry anything, any work, but they're just, you know, adding beauty to the building. By the end of the day, somebody has to pay for that. So you find in Malawi, our economy is still small. It's still small and even stagnant in growth. By the end of the day, it's reflected in the kind of buildings that we produce by the end of the day. So it's not necessarily the problem of architects, but it's our economy. So that's what I can say.
All right, Dr. Khumalo, mwagamba nditu kuti mmaphunzitsa ku mubasi and mu industry mwene mwakhalanso nthawi yayitali. Anthu akana kutrainedwa kumalawi kunoko, I'm sure pachaka chilichonse pakutuluka ndithu anthu amene ma architect ndithu kuti aphikika bwino. Komabe kumalawi kuno tinachita observe kuti pakakhala project ena akuluakulu kuti maybe akuchita involve kuchita design ma building akuluakulu kama infrastructure ina yake, many Malawians are not involved in terms of ntchito ngati imeneyi ngati ma architect. Imeyo vuto limene lili mukuona kuti lingathe bwanji, chifukwa ngati tikuphunzitsa anthu kumalawi kunoko ndiyoti tizadalira kuti atha kupanga zinthu, so kuti atha kupanga design chinthu chokuti kumalawi kunoko so anthu we can be like, wow, this is something good. Why do you think that problem is there and how can it end?
Problem imeneyo kwakukulu tikhozonera kuti mwina as you're saying it kuti kodi architects amene tikuwapanga train kumalawi kunoko sitikuwadalira kapena ifeyo as trainers kuti are we not doing the good job. Komano tikhoza kunena kuti that's also politics, you know, which sometimes we don't understand why things are like that. It's also, you know, lack of exposure. You know, so mapezeka kunena kuti if of course we train the people, you know, to design anything, as I say. Komano, you know, when it comes to practical, you find if our exposure, if our experiences are not adequate, you know, it will not, you know, give the developer or the client that much confidence. I can solely, you know, leave it to Malawians to develop it. So what they do, some developers, especially international developers, they'll come up with their own international architects because they are also looking at the experiences that they have had with those guys.
Yes.
So they'll work with the people they know, and it's okay. But then according to Malawi Institute of Architects, and I think according to Malawi Board of Architects and Quantity Surveyors, when an international developer wants to develop something in Malawi, and my professionals they should marry, or they should engage, or they should attach themselves to a local architect.
Okay, so it's a must.
Yeah, it is a must. Yeah, yes, they have to do that. So mostly it's not just those foreign professionals. They are also working closely with the local architects.
Maybe they are not trusted. As
I said, there is also politics, in that. Khumalo, what I know best, what I can say best is my international professionals are engaged with I'm attached to the local film or architectural film, so they can implement whatever projects they are meant to implement in Malawi.
Now, moving on in the issue ngati inene iyi, timaona zinthu zokuti kumalawi kunoko anthu kutengera ndi economy yathu. I don't think anthu ambiri angakwanise kunchita hire architect kuti mwina ndi project yawo, an average Malawian kuti athe kumuchita involve architect kuti mwina ndifuna ndimange kanyumba kanga, architect andipangire bwinobwino, design nyumba yolongosoka bwinobwino, kutengera ndi standard imene dziko limene lilili. Inuyo monga munthu kuti muli mu industry imene iyi, do you think many architecture ilili, is it feasible ndi industry ya Malawi kunoko kuti an average Malawian can afford an architect when they are having their own project?
I think concern many yoyo it's a genuine concern. Chifanyo kuti ma architects ambili, even if our feeling, we feel like we have to service the allies only, not the ordinary, the low income groups. My services architecture, mostly some are weaker. Some are weaker, they are not as common as my professionals and as for tinakanga tazipanga detach kunena kuti fe we belong to the allies. So zimakanga kuti ndizovuta, but I want to assure you kuti an architect is trained to design even a pit latrine to a mansion or to a high-rise building or to whatever building that you may think of. An architect is trained to do that. Komano mwina zikoza udengera mindset ya ifeyo as trainers to say kunena kuti inuyo anawo tawapanga train or tabanga train antu kwapanga so kwa masula kunena kuti you can reach out to everyone. Komanso inendi kumatha kuona kuti it's also policy ya boma. Before policy ya boma there is a buildings department ku bomako. Komando buildings department ija mostly service ngati nyumba za boma, nyumba za boma kapena ma projects za boma. Komano sana fike where come down to save the ordinary people. Mabezika kuti kunjaku, and haumanga ma church outside the city. Haumanga ma school outside the city. Haumanga nyumba zao. Most antu amena jama kupanga zimezija mwaoka. Kabena nthawi zina apanga mongo thandizana ndi mabuilder. So builder amakauti naye kufuna ndalama. Ndio mapezeka onena kuti mwina chinthu choti sangathe kumanga koma kuti atha kumanga.
Angopangirapo for the sake of
angolandirapo ndalama. Maonera kuti a buildings department ajagana kandi police. Yekunena kuti tipange police ya dala yoti tizipanga reach out kandi kuma chalichi wakamamanga ma buildings zawo kandi community afuna manga chinthu chawo kandi everyone afuna manga nyumba yake azitha kumuthandiza muthu amene ujayo kuti okay you have the resources, you have the land, koma mene ili land mene alili ma resources akwaje, your approach should be ABCD. If the government can come up with that policy, kwa agriculture, kuli policy jamanira ya alankizi jadono ngati nakalipo. Koma imathandiza kuti alankizaja they are planted in mamidzi mu areas osiyana-siyana ndi amathandiza kuwathandiza anthu aja akamapanga zawo za ulimi. So I strongly believe kuti if the government would come up with that kind of department yokunena kuti or service yokunena kuti atha kumafikira anthu wina aliyense amene afuna kutani afuna kumanga kuti anthu aja by the end of the day azimanga zinthu zolongosoka. Kukachitika disaster the government imakhala on the run, komano kuti tikhale proactive zimatikanika nthawi zonse timakhala reactive, kuti zinthu zaonongeka and then we want to come up with solutions. Koma tikhoza kuteteza zinthu zambiri if the government would come up with that policy yoti anthu afuna ngati athandizire bwanji.
Recently tinachezamo ndi akuluakulu ena aboma amene timawunikira naso nkhani ngati imene kuti sipangakhale policy nje yokuti ngati anthu ochepekedwa azitha kupindulako ndi ma service ngati amenewa ngati tipasani chisanzo legal aid ku nkhani ya zamalamulo inabwera kuti izithandiza anthu amene alochepekedwa kuti sangakwanitse ndithu ngati ku court and so on. Don't you think kuti kufidi kwanuku kukufunikanso ndithu zinthu ngati zimenezi?
Ndizoonadi actually 84% of the Malawi population is poor. So being poor as it were sangafikire architect kuti awapangire design building yawo kapena infrastructure ina iliyonse imene akutani akufuna kupanga. So as I said earlier kunena kuti the government can make that policy, to say kunena kuti apange create that those services kunena kuti anthu amene tili architects ife tikhoza kuwafikira anthu amene sangathe kutani kufikira formally an architect. Ngati mene aligo edi mene mwaneneramo komanso ngati mene ali alangizi azaulimi ndekuti awakhoza kukhala alangizi azamamangidwe. You see ndi alangizi azamamangidweyo ndi amene akhoza kumatani kumafikira anthu osiyana-siyana kuti aziwathandiza kumanga. Ineyo study imene ndimapanga my PhD thesis ndimapanga yokhuzana ndi mamangidwe amalo madera otsetsereka ndimayang'ana blantyre unoyo ndiye mapezeka onera kuti blantyre unoyo chifukwa yonera kuti it's limited, it's a rolling terrain. Mapezeka kuti zapezekabe kuti ndithu anthu ena akhale ma disaster prone areas. Ma disaster prone areas timanena ma steep sloping sites, ma river banks or ma flood zones. Nthawi zinaso zimatha kupitira kuti ngakhale ma road reserves mapezeka kuti mmene muchamutani mukukhala anthu, but those are high risk areas. Nde anthu amene ndimawafikira amene ndimapanga nawo study, and actually my study was ethnographic, so iza kuti ndimakhala nawo anthu aja. I was more or less a participant observer, so I know what they go through to construct madera otsetsereka. It's not easy. It's very difficult and it's very expensive, and the land is also very expensive for your information. So anthu aja chinthu chimodzi chomwe ndinapanga discover or kafukufuku kwanga chomwe anapanga review choti anthu aja amafuna architects atawathandiza
koma vuto ndi chani
amafuna ma professionals atawathandiza chifukwa anthu zinthu zina zomwe amakhala kuvutikana nazo ndi ma drainage system malo otsetsereka aja amafunika consolidation of the land, because the land is sloping, so it's fragile, it can slide, so they want to consolidate it. They may take 2 years akungopanga consolidate kuti land ije ikhale stable kuti akhoza kumanga. So they want that kind of technical know-how, kuti someone can help them to understand kuti what it takes to construct malo ngati amene ajawo safely komanso sustainably, kuti their repairing or maintenance works should not be every year, kuti akamanga sikhala kuti amanga. So they say ife timafunitsitsa atatithandiza anthu ma planners, ma architects, or even ma structural engineers. Anthu aja I don't know how they know these terminologies, but that's what they were saying. Kuna kuti mafuna ndithu ma planners atithandize chifukwa taona ndingomanga chisawawa, something like that, and they feel it. Because sometimes when we are looking at from the distance, we just look at them as crazy people, but the people, they feel it. They're like tingomanga chisawawa, palibe kopititsa nsewu, kulibe komanga toilet, kulibe there is no space between a house and a house, you know. So people, they feel those kind of issues, and they want the professionals to help them.